This is the dumbbell rear foot elevated split squat and some of its variations. So we're set up here on a bench, and an important thing to note here is we don't want to use a bench that's too high. So if you look here, the bench is a little bit below my knee, and that's a good spot for it to be. We definitely don't want it to be above the knee because that can cause some issues with mobility. All right, so in general, you want to use a lower bench if possible. So the first variation we're going to show is just a normal rear foot elevated split squat with the dumbbells at each side. So Pierre's going to step back with one leg and hook his foot on top of the edge of the bench here. Good. So it's curled over the top here. Now as he squats down here, he's in a position such that you'll see his shin comes a little bit forward here, but not excessively so. So his weight is centered over that heel and midfoot, and his toes are on the ground too, all right? So he's kind of evenly distributed his weight through his foot. Come back down. Good. And that back knee might get close to the ground there, but we definitely want to use a good safe range of motion here. So you might have a pad underneath there just to touch to make sure you're using consistent range of motion. So that'll be one way of doing it here. Some mistakes you'll see is people use who are too close to the bench here when they set up. So that might be, Pierre, if you just show us real quick here what that might look like. They're too close to the bench, and now you can see as he comes down, that knee comes way out in front, the heel even comes off the ground a little bit there. All right, so that's where the weight isn't evenly distributed over his foot. All right, and alternatively, you can be too far away from the bench where you see the opposite problem, where their weight's too much on their heels and their toes might come up and that knee is actually behind the ankle, all right? So that shin is pointed backwards. All right, so another variation we like to use here is a 1.5 rep rear foot elevated split squat. So with the dumbbells out of sides here, Pierre's going to do another rep like we've shown before, except with a little twist. So he goes all the way down, he comes halfway up, not locking out that knee, down all the way again, and then back up to the top. So he's constant tension there, except when he comes all the way back up to the top. So in that half rep, he's making sure not to lock out his knee. All right, so you feel a pretty good pump there. When you're doing this exercise, you probably feel it a lot in your quads, a little bit in the hamstrings and the glutes as well, okay? So another variation we like to use here is a goblet hold. So a dumbbell held at the chest here. You can also use a kettlebell. All right, so here, same thing. Pierre's going to reach that foot back, wrapping over the front edge of the bench. He's going to go down to that squat. So same mechanics as before here, keeping that chest upright, chin tucked throughout. All right, so that's one thing I want to emphasize here. We want to do this from a pretty good core and head position. All right, so a neutral spine here, anterior core brace, double chin as you're performing the exercise. Okay, so he goes down, touches that knee down, comes back up. So a little pad here might be useful for some people if you want to make sure that you're using consistent range. All right. And we can also do a 1.5 rep variation here with the same, with the goblet hold. So you go all the way down, come up halfway, back down, and then all the way back up. All right, now we can just rest here. So a couple notes on this exercise and its variations. You can use a weight vest. All right, so if those dumbbells start to get pretty heavy and you have access to a weight vest, that can be useful. That's another way to load it. Additionally, you might want to use straps. As you get stronger, your legs get stronger, your grip might become the limiting factor here, and we don't want that to be the case for a leg exercise. So you can use straps here to help your grip so that you can use heavy weights